Everyone thinks that becoming a forward deployed engineer or FDE is about how much you know, your tech stack, your demos, that folder of prior projects that you've been dying to show someone. I've spent years building AI and cloud transformation strategies for enterprises. At Google, leading developer relations, and at Microsoft, building a forward deployed engineering team from scratch. And I can tell you that the tech stack is not it. The single most important skill an FDE needs, well, it's got almost nothing to do with technology. And if you skip it, you will go build something genuinely amazing for the wrong problem. And you don't want to go do that. This video is part of my ongoing series on forward deployed engineering role. What it actually is, the skills that matter, the roadmap to get you there. So a quick refresher if you're new. An FDE is basically a solutions architect and a professional services consultant smashed together with software engineering and AI engineering. It's kind of a lot, and today is about one skill that decides whether everything that you build after it actually lands for the customer. If you're interested in any of the other videos on FDE, they are linked below. So here's the trap that almost every new FDE falls into. A customer brings you in and directly or indirectly, they ask you, what can you do for us? And that's what they want you to do. Open the toolbox of your demos, your projects, your products. But your job at this point is to not give them that toolbox. And let me explain. Here's the part that actually trips people. Even if the project someone hands you turns out to be the right project, you still don't want to fall into this trap. Why? Because you don't know if this project is the right project to work on. Or did you just get lucky? It doesn't matter if it's your account team handing you the scope or the customer walking in and saying, here's what we want. The second you accept that framing and start responding to that, then the customer goes passive. You have no scope to ask them questions. They stop talking. You stop learning about them. And you just lost the one shot that you had at shaping what you need to really execute and what the crust of the problem is. And you just ended up executing something. The right start looks completely opposite. You ask, they share, you find the real problems together, and only then do you talk outcomes. Business value first. You want to try to understand what is it that is the problem that needs to be solved that will impact business outcomes. And then, and only then, you want to get to showing them a demo or open your toolkit. Now, before you're ever in the room, do your homework. Dig into their business, their industry, their product lines, their websites, the case studies, any partnerships that they've published. And if you've got a contact there, try to get to them. Ask them what are the decisions that they are trying to make now, instead of just going in and pitching. And if you've got even one contact there, doesn't matter if they are not the decision maker, use them to learn, not to pitch, just to learn where they are. Straight up ask, what are you guys struggling with? What are you trying to achieve? Your goal really is to walk into this first real conversation already informed, already knowing just a little bit more about their business. Now, here's where a lot of FDEs lose the engagement before it even starts. They just accept whatever meeting they're given, and usually that meeting's a few layers below where it needs to be. Now, you want to be talking to someone at the highest levels of the leadership. If that's not who is in the room, then ask for it. Now, here's why it's important so much. The problems trickle down and show up as we need this product or we need this thing. Stay as far away from that as possible. You want to be as close to the actual problem as possible. What you want to hear from an executive sounds more like, here's something in our business that isn't working. We want AI to increase our revenue, cut cost, or save time, not a pre-scoped deliverable. Because if you're starting from, here's the project, whether that came from your own account team or straight up from the customer, you have already lost that context that you can't get back. And that context matters because you might genuinely be working on that wrong problem all along, and the results will not matter because it was not the right problem. Now, these early conversations exist to shape the project, and that can't happen if someone's already told you what to build. So you take deliberate steps backwards and you bring the customer along with you. The goal is to really surface what the real problem actually is, because once that's clear, then you can name the projects that get them to the outcomes that they want. Get those outcomes wrong here and your company fails at delivering what was promised. In my experience, most of the customers don't even know what they want. So they will come to you, they will either ask you for what should we be solving for, or they will tell you, here's what we need, right? And both of those are problems. You do not want to start at any of those levels. You want to go backwards and tease really the business problem and then bring them along for this journey. Okay, so this is the core technique. This is the skill. Now, I call it double clicking towards the real problem. Now, instead of accepting the first framing that a customer gives you, you take those calculated steps back and bring them along with you. So here's how it could play out. A CTO tells you, we need to increase the speed of our feature deployments. Don't jump straight into CI/CD tooling. Instead, ask them to walk me through what that looks like today. Every tool, every team, the planning, the requirements, the coding, the review, the CI/CD process, the deployments, the monitoring, all of it. Who's handling that? What are the teams involved? Everything that is involved in that process. And the whole time, they're talking. You're listening through one lens. They want faster time to market. So every inefficiencies that they mention, you are weighing against that. In this real example, it could turn out to be regression testing, the lowest hanging fruit for an AI agent. And realistically, about 40% gains, pretty fast too. But you don't want to share any of that. That's the whole move. A broad goal, ship faster, becomes very specific, scoped, defensible project. Not because you guessed well, but because you really double-clicked until the real problem started to show up, because they will be able to take you there if you ask and keep drilling deeper. Now, here's the part that people skip. It's not just about the tools though. Look at the review process. Figure out where the actual bottlenecks are. Figure out who's doing the work, the people involved. Some in-house, some contractors, because that changes what kind of change would be even feasible. So your job is to really understand the entire landscape, not just the technical stack, but also the people. Get embedded into their system. And this goes way beyond software, right? I've used software development as an example here, but you might be sitting across from someone building a medical product, and you're not from a medical background. That doesn't matter here because the job is the same. You go beyond whatever they are telling you on that surface and keep double clicking with real curiosity until you actually get to understand their business. Let me tell you this, curiosity is the real job. You can always fall back on this line. I've done it many times. I'm here to learn your business so I can tell you better how to use the tech. So don't shy away from asking questions. I see people avoid this constantly. They would walk into the room acting like they are the key person in the room whose job is to tell everyone what to do. Yes, your job is to tell everyone what to do, but your job is to also first understand where they are. How can you help? Where do they even need help? Right? But you cannot solve anything for a customer if you don't ask questions. You can't force your way into being useful or trusted. Curiosity is literally the mechanism for understanding their business, but more to build that trust. Empathy. People appreciate when you try to know about them, the problems that they're having, so that they can connect with you a lot more and would like to share with you a lot more as a result. And you'll become friends who then want to work together to solve this problem. That should be the goal. Now, once and only once the business value is clear, that's when you open your toolbox. That's when you say, we've worked with another oil and gas company or another healthcare company or another telecom company. whatever it is it might be. And here are the 3 use cases that we've seen as the lowest hanging fruits. This is where your expertise and all of your experience can shine. You can start showing them stuff. You bring the relevant experience, show a small demo, a focused demo that is grounded in exactly what you just learned about them, not what you wanted to show them, but what they would be interested in seeing based on what you just learned about them. And then you start thinking about what would it mean to move forward in this project. A clearly defined problem statement is what lets you and the customer figure out how to actually solve that problem. From there, you name a small set of concrete projects that map straight to the outcomes that they want, and you've discussed those outcomes. So this is the highest leverage step in the entire engagement. You get the outcomes wrong here, and there's no amount of great execution downstream that is going to save the delivery. For the projects, always make sure you have phases. You have a phase 1, which is lowest hanging fruits. Then you have a phase 2, which is a little bit more added value, but also a little bit more effort. Maybe requires a reorg, maybe requires some changes, maybe requires buying a tool. Third would be the most high effort, but also most high value. So you want to give them a path instead of just one option, because that allows them to see what are the trade-offs they get from each of the different options, and then allow them to pick so that they have the leverage and you too have the opportunity to showcase your smartness and intelligence. Okay, 3 things to take away. Number 1, don't lead with your capabilities. Lead with their business value, the business outcomes that they want. Let them talk first, even if the project that you have was handed to you. Number 2, the double-click technique is how a vague ask becomes a scoped, defensible project. Use that. Walk the process end to end. Listen for inefficiencies against their stated goals. And number 3, be curious. Try to really learn their business. Keep asking past that first answer, because that's where the real problems are hiding. And that's the skill. It's not a framework, it's not a tool. The discipline of getting to the real problems before you ever open your demo box or toolbox is exactly what you need. If you're building towards this role, or you're already in it and want to sharpen this skill set, I've got an entire course on this, which I'm going to link below. If you're interested, sign up and I'll see you there.